Welcome back to another installment of Disney Ride Lore. Today we'll look at what casuals call the Big Ball, but the ones who know better call it the best standing ride in Epcot, Spaceship Earth. As the first ride you see once you enter the park, this ride has stood the test of time through Epcot's upheaval and uncertainty. This attraction has gone through many changes and voices, but the spirit of Epcot still remains in its most iconic landmark. But before we get started into this video, I just want to let you know that I started a Patreon with the link in the description. So if you enjoy my channel and like to help it grow, consider joining. But without further ado, let's look at the history of Spaceship Earth. This symbol of Epcot was the brainchild of science fiction writer Ray Bradbury, who also wrote the original script for this attraction. Like a grand and miraculous spaceship, this ride tells the history of human communication from cave writings to building your own tomorrow. Debuting with the park on October 1st, 1982, this 180-foot geodesic dome inspired by the Expo 67 dome in Montreal has stood as a beacon of innovation for the better part of 4 decades. Taking the Omni-Mover ride system created by Disney thanks in part for their involvement in the 1964 World's Fair, this system allowed for the constant rotation of 2,400 guests per hour. Of course, that's not factoring in breakdowns, which is a regular occurrence on this ride. Epcot in general has gone through many conceptual changes. Originally, it was supposed to be a living and breathing city, so if you wondered why the acronym stood for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, now you know. Once Walt passed away in 1966, his directors thought the undertaking of making an actual city was too much of a risky business venture, so they stuck to what the company did best and made another theme park. Modeled after the aforementioned World's Fair, which we established was the pseudo-birthplace for Spaceship Earth, and Walt's love for progression of science and industry, the idea of diverse culture and futuristic innovation would be the theme for this new and exciting second gate. Over the years, there have been 4 different voices that have narrated this attraction. There's actually a bit of controversy when it comes to who the original narrator actually was. Some sources cite Lawrence Dobkin, who was the original voice of the Hall of Presidents from 1971 to 1993. He was a prolific voice for the golden age of radio, as he was the narrator for the 1950 show The Brown Arrow, as well as appearing on the hit TV show I Love Lucy, Star Trek, and Rawhide. The other name in question is Vic Perrin, who also got a start in radio for being the chief announcer of the Blue Network, and also appeared on television shows The Adventures of Superman, Dragnet, and Gunsmoke. He also did voiceover work for Disney, being the narrator for the Universe of Energy. Either way, their voice was used from 1982 to 1986. Next, we have Walter Cronkite, who voiced this attraction from 1986 to 1994. Cronkite was the famous CBS News anchor who covered numerous historical events, including the Nuremberg trials, the Nixon-Watergate scandal, and the moon landing. He also was at one time considered the most trusted man in America. Having such a distinguished and recognizable figure as Walter Cronkite gave Spaceship Earth a level of authenticity and credibility for a theme park ride I don't think we've seen before or since. I have a vague recollection of his voiceover work, and I feel privileged to have witnessed it. In 1994, the voice of Scar from The Lion King himself, Jeremy Irons, would hold the mantle for Spaceship Earth's next narrator. While being 46 at the time when he accepted the role, he was by far the youngest person to head this attraction. While the other names were respected and more well-established, Irons gave a more modern voice to this ride. And let's be honest, everything sounds cooler in a British accent. He would give up the role in 2007 and hand it over to his fellow countrymen. Dame Judi Dench, who is currently still going strong as its voice, and is so far the first and only female to be its narrator. Renowned for her theater work, she would break into television in 1960. She has since gone on to be a silver screen superstar, winning Best Supporting Actress for her role as Queen Elizabeth I from Shakespeare in Love. In 1988, she was recognized by the British royal family and given her title as Dame. But tell me which one of these voices is your favorite for this attraction. Disney hired 10-time Emmy winner Bruce Boughton to make the score for this ride. He would use a 63-piece orchestra as well as a 24-voice chorus. And if you listen closely, you'll hear the music change from era to era. One mistake that was left in this ride story was that the Great Library of Alexandria would fall alongside Rome, but that is not the case. The Roman Empire fell in 476 AD, while the Great Library of Alexandria would crumble in 48 BCE. One of the monk animatronics in the Christian monastery scene uses the same model as John Adams from the Hall of Presidents. As big as Spaceship Earth is, the entire sphere could be submerged in the 5.8 million gallon water tank from the living seas. The telegraph scene has an actual logbook from the 1890s and an authentic switchboard from 1898. And finally, the hieroglyphics in the Egypt scene are actually real. They are meant to speak to the Egyptian gods Anubis, Sekar, and Thoth. The hieroglyphics read the royal decree to the royal scribe and vizier Amonhotep. May he live happy and prosperous. Everyone who shall make petition to the vizier concerning fields, the vizier shall order him to come. But that'll do it for this episode for Disney Ride Lore. Hopefully you learned as much as I did while researching this video. Or was it just an infinite flood of technobabble? And maybe it gave you a little bit more insight into what I think is the best ride in current Epcot. So let me know what attraction you'd like me to cover next. And make sure to thank the Phoenicians for your ABCs. But until next time, drop a like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if I earned it, join the Patreon only if you can, and thank you for watching.